at the VA Medical Center that I work with, and right before this meeting today with you all, we started a race-based stress and trauma group. This is something that our veterans are facing both, and that they have faced both in the military and in their civilian life. Um, and COVID-19 happened and we canceled the group because, and then when this happened, it was one of those things where it's like, this is coming up in every single session. All providers are starting to see this with the people that they're working with. How can we quickly meet this need? And really having this race-based stress and trauma group was a way of like, okay, we need to get it back or get it up and running. And so one of the things that it does is it's just like, even if there were experiences that maybe people had suppressed, or a lot of times I feel like, it's not just those big events that happens, it's the daily microaggressions, it's the having to explain yourself in a space, to explain your being, to explain your hair, your color, your background, or to feel like you can't fully be yourself in spaces because you're always being mindful of how people are judging you or how they've treated you, how they may have treated you differently because of your race or where you're from, and all of these pieces. And then when things like this happen, it amplifies all of that. So it's not just that I had this one traumatic event or experience with the police. It's like, here we go again. This and then it just brings about all of these experiences. And then what also happens is now people are walking around even more aware, more present in what's happening in our society and feeling less safe outside of here. So people are looking for, how do I even create that safety? Because you don't know. And so a lot in therapy is like, sometimes you just have to sit there and you have to create that space in the therapy room. And the hard part is, for some of the issues that we're dealing with, there isn't an easy fix, right? There's nothing that it's like we have to act from multiple ways to even address this problem. And so there isn't a quick fix. So how do you help people just to cope and get through this moment? And I think that speaks to why it's important to have people in spaces that are comfortable talking about race and trauma and, different experiences and identities and how do they all intersect, because that's all going to impact whatever comes up in that space, right? And that you need to be able to sit there, and no matter how comfortable or uncomfortable it is, and be there with them and help people to create some places of trust, space of safety where they can process those things. And so I think that a lot of times people may not feel comfortable bringing up race or issues related to race or, identities or culture in the therapy room. And I feel like that's a huge disservice, because every person who walks in that office is being, you're seeing the result of all of these different experiences, right? So how I speak to my depression, how I experience my depression, how I communicate that to you, how I'm going to be able to carry out this work from the therapy room to my outside life is all going to be under the umbrella of these identities, these, beliefs, my gender, my SES, like it's all going to impact me, because you're going to have to help me figure out, how do I even navigate this within those systems. And if we only say, well, you're here for depression, let's just focus on the depression, let's just focus on the anxiety, then are you considering the environment they're going out to? Are you considering what it's like to work? And are these environments sort of contributing to and sustaining that depressive state, that anxious state, re-triggering their trauma? And so we really have to, as providers, it is our duty to educate ourselves. And even as a Black woman, it's not like I'm just like, oh, I know exactly what to do. I don't always know what to do, but I am intentional about taking trainings, expanding my knowledge, so that when I'm in the room, I've at least done my due diligence, I feel, to step in that room and to see that person.